Hello everyone and welcome to a new video of your Polyglot Academy. Today it's lesson 46 and we're going to talk about conditional sentences with the Konjunktiv II. So let's go. Now firstly, what is the Konjunktiv II? Well, the Konjunktiv II in German is used to express hypothetical situations, wishes, and conditions that are contrary to reality. And it often corresponds to the conditional mood in English. So if you would like to talk about a conditional or something which might happen, might have happened, then you're going to need the Konjunktiv II. Here's an example. Wäre nächsten Freitag für dich in Ordnung? Would next Friday be okay for you? And in this case, you can notice that we're not talking about a sentence with a normal present simple or with a past simple, but we're having a conditional sentence. So we would like to say, would next Friday be okay for you? We are not sure whether the other person can next Friday, so we are asking him whether next Friday would be okay. And in German, would be is translated to wäre, which is a conjunction for the Konjunktiv II. Now, how do we form it? Well, there are three different cases. First, we have the three most important verbs, which are the auxiliary verbs sein, haben, and werden. So you kind of have to memorize these three tables, so these three conjunctions. Sein would be ich wäre, du wärst, er wäre, wir wären, ihr wärt, sie wären. Haben would be ich hätte, du hättest, er hätte, wir hätten, ihr hättet, sie hätten. And werden would be ich würde, du würdest, er würde, wir würden, ihr würdet, sie würden. And while considering this, it is also very remarkable to consider that the auxiliaries in the Konjunktiv II have basically the theme of the Präteritum, which is the past simple, to which are added the endings e, est, e, en, et, en, and the thematic vowel takes the umlaut. So this is very good. This actually means that they're not completely irregular. We simply have to think about the Präteritum, about the past simple, and then we're simply adding these endings, which we got right here. So let's see an example. For example, the Präteritum of sein is ich war. So in order to form the Konjunktiv II, we're simply going to add the ending e, and then we're going to change the thematic vowel. So it's not going to be an a anymore, but it's going to be an e, because it takes the umlaut. So it's going to be ich wäre. So if you do it this way, it is very easy to build it. You simply have to know the Präteritum of the verb, and then you can change it in order to form the Konjunktiv II. So this is very good for us. Now let's talk about strong verbs. The auxiliary in Konjunktiv II, as we already talked about, have the theme of the Präteritum, to which are added the following endings. And this is the same also for strong verbs. So for example, if we take the verb kommen, then the conjunction of the Konjunktiv II is going to be ich käme, du kämest, er käme, wir kämen, ihr kämt, sie kämen. So you're simply taking the Präteritum, you're changing the thematic vowel, so it's taking the umlaut, whether the thematic vowel is an A, an O, or an U, and then you're adding the correspective endings at the end. So this is also the same for strong verbs. Now, what do we do with weak verbs? Well, in order to conjugate the Konjunktiv II of weak verbs, the situation is a lot easier. You don't have to think about the Präteritum and add some endings, but you simply have to remember this rule. In order to conjugate the Konjunktiv II of weak verbs, you simply have to conjugate werden to the Konjunktiv II, so the third auxiliary verb we already talked about, and werden is going to be followed by the main verb. Now, let's see what this would mean. Well, machen is a normal verb. How do we form the Konjunktiv II of machen? Well, first we're going to conjugate werden to the Konjunktiv II. So it would be würde, würdest, würde, würden, würdet, würden, depending on what we're talking about. And then it's going to be followed by the main verb. So for example, for the third person singular, we would say würde machen. Let's consider another example. Ihr lernt would become ihr würdet lernen. So we have werden conjugated to the Konjunktiv II, which is followed by the main verb, lernen. So this is pretty straightforward. And while considering a complex sentence, you also have to remind of the fact that werden is going to be put right at the beginning of the sentence. So if you're building a sentence, and the main verb is going to be right at the end, as we already talked about in other videos for other topics, such as the perfect or the future with werden and so on. And this is a trick. You can also use this simplified form for strong verbs, which means you theoretically only need to learn the conjunctions of sein, haben, and werden for the Konjunktiv II. Now, in German, in the oral form, you wouldn't necessarily use the complex form in order to talk about conditional sentences. So even for strong verbs, you can use this rule. So this is kind of a bonus for you. Now let's consider an example. How would you translate the sentence, I would never do it even if you paid me? Well, in this case, we have a conditional sentence. We are saying that I would never do it. So this is a thing that you would never do it even if you paid me. So even with a condition, with an hypothetical condition, the fact that someone paid me. And the translation is pretty simple. Ich würde es niemals tun. So I would never do it. Selbst wenn Sie mich dafür bezahlen würden. Even if you paid me. And this sentence is basically made out of two conditional sentences. First, we have I would never do it. And in this case, we have the conditional of the verb tun, which means do. And you can see how we're building it. We are conjugating werden to the Konjunktiv II, so we have würde, and then it is followed by the main verb tun. And the same, we have also the same in the second sentence. So we have wenn, which is even, which is it's a subordinate conjunction. And then right at the end of the sentence, we have bezahlen würden, which means even if you would pay me or paid me, which is a better version. Now, this was it for today. It was kind of a complicated lesson, but still, if you have any questions or whatsoever, don't hesitate to write a comment. And now, please, as an exercise, write 5 sentences using the Konjunktiv II and post them in the comments below so that I can correct them. Other than that, thanks for your attention and I hope to see you next time. Have a nice day.